Good morning, one and all. So, I'm dealing with food preservation and one CBCS subject. As you all know, what is food preservation, as we studied it in our previous semesters, what is food preservation and what are the methods which we can use to preserve the foods. Now, food preservation is a process to handle and treat a food in order to control its spoilage by stopping the attack of the microorganism or stopping the growth of certain foodborne diseases. It is also helpful to avoid the oxidation of fats and to maintain the nutritional value, texture, flavor of the food. Now, the main purpose for food preservation is to retain the nutritional content of the food, to retain its texture and to retain its flavor of the food. This is one of the aim. The second aim is to avoid the growth of the any microbes or to stop the growth of the microbes. That is the second aim of food preservation. And the third one is to avoid the oxidation of fats. Now, when we say to avoid the oxidation of fat, it is applicable only to those food which have high content of fats. Okay, so basically when we say oxidation of fat, what happens is it is nothing but it is the breakdown of the fatty acids. Now, during the breakdown of the fatty acid, there are formations of either a oxygen molecule or formation of a free radical. So once there is formation of an oxygen molecule or a free radical in any food material, it produces an undesirable compounds. Now these undesirable compounds will deteriorate the quality of that particular food. That is why it is important to avoid the oxidation of fats. Okay, so the fats which contribute for the oxidation are of two types. Either it is the phospholipids or the triglycerides. So these are the two lipids which contribute in the oxidation of fats, and that is why to avoid the undesirable formation of compounds which can deteriorate the quality of the food, we have to avoid the oxidation of fats. Now, food preservation is not only the methods which we are using to preserve the foods. Now, you have studied about the different methods which are used to preserve the food, such as freezing, refrigeration, sterilization, cooking. So these are the different methods wherein we are preserving the foods. Now, food preservation not only deals with these methods, but it has a much wide meaning when we say it food preservation. So food preservation actually deals with the food chain of the particular food from the raw material to the finished product. Now, when we say food chain, I will give you a good example. Suppose if you want to produce a fruit juice. Now, to produce a fruit juice, the main ingredients is the fruit, or we can say the raw materials which is needed is the fruit, right? Suppose if we want to prepare a mango juice, right? So the main ingredients or the raw materials is the mangoes, right? So when we speak about the food chain, we are saying that the food chain basically deals with all the steps from the raw materials to the production. For example, mango juice. So here we have to see whether that mango, the growth or the growing conditions of the mango, from growth to its harvesting, from harvesting to the processing of the mango juice, from processing to packaging of the mango juice, from packaging to storage of the mango juice, and the transport of the mango juice to the markets. So this all the steps from the raw material to the finished product, all these steps contributes to the food chain. And when I say food preservation, we deal with all the steps which are involved in the food chain. So we have to preserve the quality of the food from its raw material form to the final product form. That is the meaning of food preservation, that we are taking everything into consideration, from its growing as a raw material to its processing as a fruit juice to its transport into the market. So that is called as food preservation. Now there are objectives of food preservation. So the first one is removal of the unwanted matter from the foods. Now the unwanted matter may be inedible, indigestible or harmful to health, such as the husk from the grain, the skin of some vegetables, coconut shells, etc. The unwanted matter has to be removed by a different process including shelling, milling, peeling, etc. So the first objective is to remove the unwanted matters, that is the inedible portion. Now inedible portion is the portion which we cannot consume, whereas the edible portion is the portion wherein we can consume it. So we have to remove this inedible portion. Examples is, if we take a fruit as an example, we have to remove the outer skin of the fruit. So that is an inedible portion. So before it goes for the processing, we have to remove the unwanted portion or the inedible parts. So that is the first objective. Now this removing can be done by different methods, such as shelling, that is the removing the outer skin, then milling, that is cutting the inedible portion into tiny parts which can be later consumed, and then peeling. So there are different ways to remove the unwanted material. The second one is making food safe for consumption. So to make food safe for consumption, we have to remove the natural toxins or from the food. Now one such example is the trypsin inhibitors in soya bean, fungal toxins such as aflatoxin in groundnut and grains, or the infected portion of the food material such as green portion of the potatoes is removed by visual examination, and chemical toxins and poisons are discarded. Now to ensure the safety of one's consumption, we have to remove the natural toxins. Now these natural toxins can be dangerous for a human health, that is why we have to remove these natural toxins. Now how can we remove the natural toxins? First thing, it is difficult to remove the natural toxins from the food, so we can go for the inactivation of these toxins. Now how we can do the inactivation of toxins? Inactivation of toxins can be done by different environmental conditions. Okay, one such example is temperature, because at certain temperatures these toxins will be activated, whereas at certain temperatures it will be inactivated. So we have to see for those temperature wherein these toxins are inactivated. Then also we can remove the infected portion of the food materials. Now this is done before the processing of the food materials. So there is a check done for the raw material quality. So all the damaged parts has to be removed prior to the processing, or if there is any damaged fruits or vegetables, it has to be removed prior to the processing. what happens is, if such damaged fruits are used during the processing, the first thing is, at the damaged portion there is growth of microorganisms. So this microorganisms will interact with the final product of that particular food, right? So it is important we remove this damaged portion, so that there is no interference of the microorganisms which are grown on that particular damaged portion. Secondly, the damaged portion of certain fruits or vegetables can render a bitter taste to the final product. That is one of the reasons we remove the damaged portions before the fruit or vegetable is gone for processing. The third objective is to increase the digestibility. So the foods are usually cooked so that it softens the fiber, as well as there is change in the texture of the food. So this cooked food is easy to digest. Now I'll give you a good example of this. Milk, right? So milk, once the processing of milk is done, we can as such drink the milk because it has already been pasteurized, right? It has been heated to such an extent that all the microorganisms have been killed, and also it is safe to consume. So there are certain processes which gives a good flavor, and also it gives a preservation for that particular food item. For milk it will be pasteurization, because the milk will be pasteurized, that means it will be, and also sterilized, it will be heated to such a extent and then cooled down, so that the aim for pasteurization is either to kill the microorganism and also to render flavor for the milk, right? So the third one is to increase the digestibility. Fourth one is to enhance the flavors, color and taste. So certain food preservation techniques will enhance the flavor or the texture or the color of the food items. Now, one example is, if you keep any fruits as such at room temperature, what will happen? Slowly, as the days prolong, what will happen? That fruit will get spoiled, right? Or either its texture will be kind of soft, soggy, or the flavor will be changed, right? But if you keep that fruit in a refrigeration temperature, what will happen? The texture will be maintained, the flavor also will be maintained, because refrigeration is a preservation technique wherein we are enhancing the texture, the flavor or the taste of that particular food item, right? So preservation of the food items will enhance the flavor, the color or the taste of that particular food item. Now usually the common the common preservation technique which we do is the refrigeration, right? Or sometimes freezing or cooling. So these are the normal preservation techniques which we apply at home. The next one is improving the texture and consistency. Now process such as emulsification and gel formation are to increase the viscosity, to improve the texture and the consistency of ready to eat foods. Now we usually go for these processes, that is emulsification. Emulsification is nothing but thickening of the food materials once the emulsifiers has been used. Or gel formation is nothing but formation of the gels. Now why these processes are important? This processes increases the viscosity, that means the consistency, right, of a food is increased. The texture, it will give a firm texture to the foods. That is why we go for such processes. Then another objective of food preservation is to minimize the nutrient loss. Now, as I said, if we keep the food for a prolonged period of time, the food will lose its nutritional qualities. Okay, the nutritional qualities will be deteriorated as the time passes. So we have to preserve this nutritional qualities. Okay. Now how this nutritional qualities is reduced? Now suppose if we place any food item, or if we keep a food item at a room temperature, and if we keep it for a prolonged period of time, what will happen is, as it ripens more and more, what happens is its nutritional qualities will be reduced to such an extent and maybe that is the reason we have to preserve the fruits or the vegetables or any food items, because as the time passes, the quality of the fruit it reduces, as well as the nutritional content of the food gets reduced. Okay, so that is the reason we go for different preservation techniques, so that at that particular temperatures it will remain fresh and also it can retain its nutritional content. But sometimes what happens in certain processing what happens is the nutritional content is lost. For example, I will give you, the nutritional content is more in a raw material than the food item which has been cooked, because cooking causes the loss of nutritional content of that particular food. Maybe it destroys the chemical compounds of that particular food when we cook at certain temperatures. Okay, so if we consume the food fresh, that food will have, or that fruit, I will give you as an example, that fruit will have much nutritional content as compared to the fruit which has been processed. Okay, because it will be losing its nutritional content once it passes through all the processes. So such foods can be fortified. Okay, so what is fortification? Fortification is nothing but addition of the extra vitamins and minerals to that particular food. That is called as fortification. So in fortification, we add extra nutrients or vitamins or minerals to that particular food only when that food has lost its nutritional content during processing. So those are called as fortified foods or enriched foods. Next objective is extending the shelf life. Now different preservation processes extends the shelf life of the food. One such example is refrigeration, freezing. It will keep the food for a prolonged period of time as compared to those foods which are just kept at room temperature. They will spoil faster. The foods which are kept at room temperature will spoil faster than those foods which are kept at a refrigeration temperatures. So cold storage, dehydration, canning, pasteurization, all these preservation techniques will extend the shelf life of the foods. Also, these preservation techniques will remove the unwanted materials or the harmful materials by subjecting it to a temperatures. The next one is increased acceptability through fabricated foods. So new products of uniform sizes and shape has been introduced in the market, and they are made from low grade commodities which are plentiful or good for health. So when we say low grade commodities, these are the products which are made from the either the byproducts of certain food materials. Byproducts are the waste products. So from the waste products also we have made certain foods which are very much nutritious. Also we have made foods which are from the low grade, like those materials which are usually thrown as a waste. From those also we have introduce certain new foods in the markets. Now one such good example is whey drink. Okay, so whey drink is usually considered as a byproduct of the production in the production industry of cheese or maybe paneer. So in those production, that is paneer, I'll take an example. In the production of paneer, when we squeeze out the water from the milk, this water is considered as a whey. Okay, now usually if you try to make paneer at home, what we do, we usually heat the milk and then we will add certain coagulants to it. Now such coagulants can be, one is citric acid or vinegar. So once we add citric acid to the milk, it will start coagulating, the protein will start coagulating. Okay, and these proteins, once it is strained off, you will get the water. So this portion of water is usually considered as whey. Now usually this whey is thrown out in the production industries, but now we are using this whey as to develop a new product. So if you have seen in the markets or you will see that there are whey drinks. Okay, so these whey drinks are nutritious because it contains much more protein. Okay, it is very rich in protein, and usually these whey drinks will be used by bodybuilders or weightlifters or in those people who goes to gym and all to build their muscles. Okay, so such kind of products have been introduced in the market which has been discarded as a byproduct but which contains many nutritious compounds. The principles of food preservation. So the basic principle for food preservation is to delay the microbial growth or to stop the growth of the microorganisms by keeping out the microorganism, which is called as asepsis. Asepsis is nothing but avoiding the microorganism, avoiding the contact of the microorganism with the main food item. That is called as asepsis, or removing the microorganism. Now this removing of the microorganism is usually done by filtration, that is passing the food item through a fine mesh so that whatever microorganism is there, it will stick to the mesh, and whatever clear solution is there, it will pass through the mesh. Now this filtration is usually done for the liquid food products, then hindering the growth or activity of the microorganisms. When we say hindering, it means the stopping the growth of the microorganism. Now this can be done usually by the adjusting the temperatures. It can be done by low temperatures or high temperature. Again, it depends on the type of the microorganism, whether it is psychotroph, thermophile or mesophile. It depends on that. Depending on that, if it is a thermophile, that means we have to lower the temperatures, because thermophiles are the microorganisms which will grow at a higher temperatures. So for such kind of microorganism, we have to use preservation techniques such as freezing or refrigeration, because at this temperature they won't grow. So preservation or delay of self decomposition of foods. So preservation avoids decomposition of the food materials. Then destruction or inactivation of food enzymes can be done by many food preservation such as blanching. Now when we say inactivation, one good example is certain fruits or vegetables will be activated at room temperatures, right? The enzymes will be activated at room temperatures. So this fruits or vegetables has to be blanched. What is blanching? So blanching is nothing but placing these fruits or vegetables in a boiling water. So what happens when we place these fruits or vegetables in boiling water? It will inactivate these enzymes, because those enzymes won't be activated at that particular temperature, such as the boiling water temperatures. So that is why we go for blanching. In the case of fish, the enzymes in the fish will be activated at room temperature. So that is the reason we usually store the fish in the ice blocks or in the refrigeration or freezing temperature, because at that particular low temperatures the enzymes of the fish will be inactivated. Then preservation or delay of chemical reactions. So preservation of oxidation by means of an antioxidants. Usually we preserve the foods Now, when we speak about preservation or delay of chemical reaction, we are speaking about those foods which causes oxidation of the food item. Okay, usually it is with those foods such as fatty foods which causes oxidation of the fats. Okay, so preservation helps in delaying this chemical reaction to much greater extent. Also it at certain point it helps into avoid the oxidation of fats if we preserve it in a proper way. Now how to preserve it? By use of any antioxidants. Next one is preservation of damage caused by the insects, animals or mechanical causes. So this we can preserve by either refrigeration, freezing, because if we keep food items as such, obviously there will be growth of microorganisms or the insects will come and grow on that food item. So the best way is to avoid all these microbes or insects by keeping it in certain preservation methods such as refrigeration, freezing, or maybe cooking it. So these are the different preservation methods wherein we can avoid the growth of unwanted insects or microorganisms. So the main aim for preservation is to avoid the growth of microorganism because it will spoil the food. Secondly, to avoid the chemical reactions which can take place in the food as such, okay, such as oxidation or any enzyme deterioration. Also, to preserve the nutritional content of the food, the texture, the flavor, the taste of the food has to be preserved. So these are the main aims for food preservation. Thank you.